Okay, I would like to show you how to loom knit a bootie that looks like a Santa Claus hat. And it's all one piece. And the only thing you'll need to sew on is four button like things, or if they're a little bigger, 3. And make a little pom-pom and attach to the back. This is a guideline. Mostly what you're after is this section up here. Down here, if you've made a sock before, you do it like normal, whatever way you prefer. Okay, so I'm using burnout blanket yarn from my top section here. Okay, and then I'm using Yarn Bee Soft and Sleek in red, but you could probably use Lion's brand or something like that. It's a worsted weight yarn. The type of loom I'm using is a Cindy Wood loom. It's in the 7/16 gauge with 36 pegs. Okay, and I would say that you could also use a 36 peg 1/2 inch gauge, but any wider than that, you're going to be probably needing a different size yarn and that kind of thing. So you can use a worsted weight yarn. You see how it looks. It looks good. Okay, now let's see if we can get us started. Okay, so what you want to do is you want to E-wrap, cast on all the pegs, and you're going to be working in the round to start. And it works best to do this particular way. Okay. Now, it's when you get to the red that it gets interesting. So you start out with the hard stuff, and then it works easily. But for this sock, this bootie, I'm gonna show you how to do the kiss heel, and I'm gonna show you how to do a kiss toe, and then do a Kitchener close. Okay. Okay, let's get that tossed over. All right. So what you want to do is you actually want to E-wrap the first row. Okay. Then you're going to purl, and then you're going to E-wrap. All right. And that is what you're going to do to get started. So you go around and you E-wrap. Okay. So we've done our first row, which is E-wrap. Then what you want to do is purl. So you do your purl stitch. And do it all the way around. Okay. So you're going to purl your way around. So you're going to purl all the way around. Then you're going to E-wrap all the way around. And then we'll be ready to start adding the red. Okay. So pause the video, complete a row of purl and E-wrap, and we'll come back and we'll start the red section. Okay, so we have it done. We did a row of E-wrap, a row of purl, a row of E-wrap. All right, what you want to do is you can go ahead and put the white aside. You'll need it when you're ready to do the pom-pom, which is attached separately. Okay, so let's go ahead and make a slip stitch. Hold your tail, put your finger up in there, push away from you, get your thumb up in there, grab the working yarn, pull through, tighten. There you Alright, so to make this simple, what you're going to do is you're going to count over, because half of 36 is 18. So you're going to count over 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You're going to put it on here. Alright, so what you're going to do is your goal, if you'll notice, this looks a little bigger, and then suddenly it's tight. There's a reason for that, and I'm going to show you how. Alright, so in order to get that looser look to it without getting it too loose, you E-wrap a row, then you U-knit a row. Okay, and you got to keep that in mind when you're fixing to do this section that I'm going to show you. Alright, so we're going to start with an E-wrap row. You're going to go all the way around. Now, if you're wanting to do this, quick note, if you're wanting to do this on a different size loom, you just need to gauge how much you want. Maybe you only want to do, but I would say probably typically you're going to do an E-wrap row, purl row, E-wrap row on the white. This works the same, this concept works the same. You're going to be short rowing the whole loom. What you want to do is you want to divide the loom in half, and then take that number and half it again, and you're going to count over from your starting point over here to put it down, okay? Just so you know. All right. Your first thing you're going to do is E-wrap all the way around and stop here, okay? Now I'm going to show you what you need to do once you get over to your starting point. You can tie off your white. Try and keep this as simple as possible for you. So, and if you're used to doing a sock, it should be kind of easy to keep up with. You can go ahead and tie off. Let me get it over here. Okay. There. Now you can continue on. Okay. So, if you're doing this in another loom, just keep in mind, anything you're doing on a sock, you're using all the pegs to do the hat part, and you're going to be doing like you would do a sock. Half the loom, then you divide by 3, okay? So this is really easily transferred over to other looms. Your hardest part may be the section for the cuff, how long to do it. I believe I did 36 rows, but on the last like 6 rows, which would probably be about an inch, I switched over to do just flat knit. So you definitely want to incorporate rows that are basically the number of pegs is the number of rows for the cuff. But keep in mind on the last 4, 6 rows you want to do a flat knit, okay? I think I did maybe a little bit more of that. Maybe the last 10 rows I did a knit, okay? You just want some inches that are, you want about an inch to 2 inches that's knit so that it hugs around the ankle. And that way it doesn't come off the ankle, okay? But typically I'm doing the same number of rows for the cuff as I'm doing for the same number of pegs, and take the number of pegs and do the same number of rows kind of thing. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to slip this stitch here, and you're going to work back the other direction, but you're going to U-knit basically, okay? Okay, So you're going to knit all the way over, and you're going to stop here and wrap and turn this peg. All right. And if you've ever done wrap and turn for heels and stuff, it's really easy what we're doing. Okay. We're going to create basically a triangle that sits off the back of the booty. Okay. So you knit your way around. Okay. And knit one more. Oh, I forgot to go ahead and knit that white over right there. Okay. Now what you're going to do is you're going to wrap and turn. So you go behind the peg and in front. Okay, we're skipping that first one. All right. Then you're going to E-wrap your way around. So get a flow where you're E-wrapping one direction and then you're knitting another direction. Now, if you think you're going to have a hard time keeping up with this, here's a trick. All right. Push all these down. What you can do is you can just E-wrap your way around. And this works even when you start working in the round. You can just E-wrap around and then toss the bottom lip over and then, E-wrap. All right. Okay. All right. See, here we are. There's your center point. You may want to mark it, but there's your center point right there, where your break is. We're not messing with that first peg there. We're gonna wrap and turn this one. So go ahead and toss the bottom lip over on that last peg you just wrapped. Okay. You're gonna wrap and turn. So you're gonna wrap behind that next peg and turn. Okay. Then you're gonna toss the bottom lip over. Okay. You're going to toss the bottom lip over, push that down, U-wrap, toss the bottom lip over. Okay, see if I can give you a better angle. So you're going to toss the bottom lip over, U-wrap, toss the bottom lip over. And what this does is it allows you to get a little speed going. And you're completing 2 rows at once. So you're going to kind of work your way around. But you're going to wrap and turn your way down to where you have 2 single stitches on 2 pegs. And then we can go from there. So I'm going to try to show you how to do this so that you kind of get a feel for what we're doing. And then go from there. So you just toss bottom lip over, U-wrap, and this helps you keep up with an E-wrap row and a U-wrap row. So okay, now you worked your way back to here's your wrap and turn peg. See? Get it to focus. Yeah. There's your wrap and turn peg. And I've stopped here just before that last wrap and turn. Because what I want to do is wrap behind the peg and in front. This gives you a second wrap and turn. If you want to keep it easier on yourself, you can E-wrap it first, toss that bottom lip over so that you see where you're at. Now, what we want to do is we'll shovel that down, is we need to E-wrap our way all the way around, stop here so we can wrap and turn. We're going to continue this process until we're down to 2 single stitches between a ton of wrap and turns. And what you're doing is creating a point. This creates the hat. So I'm going to E-wrap my way around, and I'm going to do like I just did because it helps me keep up. If you have a hard time keeping up with a E-wrap a row and flatten it a row, this is the best way to go about it. So you go ahead and you E-wrap your way around. There's my last wrap and turn right here. So I want to E-wrap that. Go ahead and toss the bottom loop over. Okay, I'm going to wrap behind that peg and in front. There's my next wrap and turn. Okay, and then we're just going to knit that peg over. So just knit over. We now have 2 wraps and turns on both sides, and then you're going to continue that. Toss bottom loop over, U-wrap, toss, toss, and this helps you keep up with your E-wrap and U-wrap rows. All right. You continue that all the way around, okay? And then when you get here, you're going to stop here and then wrap and turn. And you continue this back and forth, back and forth. And what you should end up with is being over here. So there's your starting point. Should be right across from here. Should be your 2 single stitches between a whole bunch of wraps and turns over here and a whole bunch of wraps and turns over here. So what you want to do is you want to pause the video and get yourself wrapped and turned like we've been doing all the way down to where it's 2 single stitches, and I'll show you what that looks like, all right? But you're going to pause the video and keep going around and wrapping and turning, just like if you were doing a heel of a sock, except you're not leaving such a gap. It's going to be really small, just 2 single stitches, okay? Pause the video and get that much done, and I'll show you what it looks like next. Okay, so let's show you what you got. You see there's 2 single stitches there, and there's wraps and turns all the way around until your single stitches here. And then you'll see there's wraps and turns all the way around until you're back to your single stitches here. Okay? So what you want to do now is I've already done wrap and turn and knit my way back. I'm going to go ahead and knit the 2 together. I'm going to slip that first stitch, I'm going to skip it, and I'm going to E-wrap over. And then when you get to those wrap and turn pegs, you just want to toss both loops over. Okay, then you're going to slip that first stitch. Where you're going to skip that first stitch, you just knit the 2 over, and you're going to knit your way over, and then you're going to knit those 2 over in your next wrap and turn. Slip that first stitch, E-wrap your way back, and again you can do this method where you go over to the next wrap and turn, knit the 2 together, toss the bottom loop over, then you knit, toss the bottom loop over, you knit, toss the bottom loop over, you knit, toss the bottom loop over, you knit, and then knit the 2 together. Slip the first stitch, wrap your way over, and E-wrap, and then the next wrap and turn. So you E-wrap over to the next wrap and turn. And then you toss bottom loop over, and you knit, toss bottom loop over, and you knit. And you're going to keep doing this process until you are back to these 2 stitches over here. Okay. That means you'll have no more wraps and turns. All right. Knit and get over to the next wrap and turn and knit the 2 together. Okay. pause the video and get your increasing all back on, and you should have what starts to look like a little hat. But do keep in mind we're going to need to be bringing these stitches back to the loom. Okay, so go ahead, back and forth, no more wraps and turns, and you should have something that looks a lot like this in the end. Okay, all right, so pause the video, get that much done, and we'll come back and I will show you what the next step is. Okay, there's your little hat section, as you can see. Alrighty, so we're around here and we're pretty much back to the single stitches, okay, that you started with. At this point, what you want to do is you want to just knit those two, and then you just want to E-wrap to a new starting point, which is right here. So go ahead and wrap your way to the starting point here, back where we were. Okay. And what that should do is get us back to a baseline to where we can start our sock. You don't want to be in an odd spot when you start the sock area and you have to do those heels and toes, and you don't want anything strange there. Okay, so we're going to stop here, toss that bottom lip over. There we go. Okay, and just go around and toss them over and get yourself back to square one. Okay. So what comes next is, this isn't going to work until you reattached the two halves together. All right. I'm going to show how that works. Okay, here we are at your starting point. Push those loops down. All right. Make sure your working yarn is on the outside of the loom right now. All right. So, as you can see, you have this big hole, but you need this reconnected back here. Okay. So, what you want to do is you want to come back over here and you want to find your red connections between your white. You'll see it. You see that red showing up in there between your white? Okay. You'll want to add that back to the loom. Okay. And you find the next one right there and add it back. Find the next one there, add it back. You're going to do that all the way around the loom. And what this does is it reattaches it so that it's a closed off area. And so if you try to put on the sock, you aren't going to run into the heel. Okay. And just do this all the way around. And this closes the area off. Now, it's up to you on the next section. If you wanted to try to also add in your cast on stitch from your white here, you can try to, and the reason being is if you don't, you're still going to need to sew it up around the base for the curl. Okay, so once you get this attached, you can go in and then attach your cast on loops and then get it all done at once. Okay. And it should add the curl that you're after, and it closes off the hat so that when you go to put on the sock, you don't get your foot put in the hat part, and it just cleans everything up all nice. And if somehow you're off by one, it's okay. Don't worry about it. All right, now you can go in and you can toss all these loops over, or you can go in and bring back your cast on loops. And you see these little bumps here. Okay. And you know there's your starting point right there. So there's your starting point. And you just take and put those loops back on. All right. And you'll see them. Your cast on loops are really loose because they were E-wrap cast on. And if you've ever done a hemmed brim, this is really not difficult. You can easily find your cast on loops. Okay. And once you do this, you're going to toss the very bottom loops over. Okay. And what this is going to do is it's going to clean everything up. Okay. This is going to get a nice curl to the top. Again, if you don't want to do this, you don't have to, but you will need to sew it down into a curl. All right. And cast on loops backward. And right there. Okay. Now, what you want to do is you want to take it and wrap around the back. You're going to E-wrap it. You're going to toss that one, and that one, and that one over. All three loops. Okay. E-wrap and toss all three loops. E-wrap, toss all the loops over. Okay. That means your next row should be a knit. Okay. So, pause the video and E-wrap your way around to the starting point, and then we'll be ready to start the cuff. Okay. Pause the video and get that much done. Okay, at this point, you're doing your actual cuff area, which is this area here. Okay. This is where you E-wrap a row, knit a row, E-wrap a row, you knit a row, basically. And you're going to do it for instance, this is 36 pegs. We're going to do it for 26 rows, and the last 10 rows will be just a unit, okay? So we just did an E-wrap. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go around and I'm going to knit, okay? And then I can start my E-wrap and then knit at the same time to keep up with it, and so that it keeps that nice patterning going. You may need a row counter for this. That makes it easier to keep up with. And note, if you do the technique that I'm going to show you after I get this row knit, know that it's 2 rows complete. So you pop it up 2 rows when you complete it, okay? When you do the technique I'm fixing to show you. So you're just going to knit your way around entirely. Sorry, didn't have the camera down. But you're just going to knit your way around like a normal row. Nothing special. Just knit it. Okay. Didn't miss anything truly intricate on that. Just a straight up knit. Okay. Now, so you've been doing this with the short rows. You're just going to do this in the round now. Keep in mind, if you do this technique and you're using a row counter, when you complete a cycle, you have to put in for 2 rows because this is completing 2 rows. So what you want to do, is you want to E-wrap around, okay? So this is your E-wrap row, okay? That's just it. You're doing 2 rows at once when you do this. So you E-wrap around. This helps you keep your patterning up so that you don't lose it, okay? And that's important because it really does show if you mess up. Okay, so you E-wrap your way around. So you're going to toss that bottom loop over. Then you're going to unit. Toss the bottom loop. Unit. Toss the bottom loop. Bottom. All right, you're going to do that all the way around, and that'll count as 2 rows, okay? Now, for this loom, you're going to end up doing 26 total rows, and technically you've already done 2, so you have 24 more rows to do. All right, so go ahead and E-wrap a row, unit a row for 24 more rows, or a total of 26 rows, and then we'll come back, and then if you feel comfortable with it, go ahead and knit the last 10 rows, okay, if you're comfortable with it. All right, so go ahead and pause the video and complete that much, and when we come back, we should be about ready to start the actual sock part of it, where it's the heel and the toe, and I'll show you how to do a kiss heel, okay? So pause the video, get your cuff done, and we'll come back and start working with the next section of the booty. Okay, I've done my 26 rows of E-wrap a row, knit a row. Okay, so now I'm ready to do my 10 rows of just straight up knit. At this point, we're starting to work the regular part of the sock. And this is where it's entirely up to you what you do. So you're going to knit around for 10 rows, okay? And then we'll come in and I'll show you how to do a kiss heel, okay? So pause the video, complete your 10 rows of knit. If you're wondering where we're at on the sock, or here. And we'll be doing this heel here, okay? So go ahead and pause the video and get that much done, okay? Get your 10 rows of knit done, and then we'll come back and do the heel. Okay, so you can see the difference here in the patterning where it's an E-wrap a row, you knit a row, and then you see your knit here. All right, at this point, go ahead and knit away all the way around and stop just before this last peg, so stop here. And while you're doing that, I'm going to explain something. You can do whatever heel you know how to do. You don't have to do this heel. It's still the same idea of divide the loom in half. So we're only working with the back 18 pegs. Now that is accurate. For when you're doing this, you need to work the back 18 to do your heel. When you do your toe, you need to work the front 18. Okay, keep that in mind. All right, so when you're doing the heel, you're working the back 18 pegs. When you're doing the front, you're doing the front 18 pegs when you're doing the toe. Okay, so here's the other thing. You're going to take those 18 pegs and you're going to divide it by 3. All right, so you should have 6 wraps and turns, 6 single stitches, and 6 wraps and turns, okay? It's the same process on any loom that you choose to use. If you choose to use a 24 peg loom, divide it in half, 12 divided by 3, then it's 4. Okay, so 4 wraps and turns, 4 single stitches, 4 wraps and turns, okay? If you're doing a short row, you can do a gusset heel if you want. You can do whatever heel you want in this section. This is entirely up to you, but I'm going to show how to do a kiss heel, okay? So once you have knitted all the way around and stopped just before this last peg, what you want to do is you want to find that first notch, that first stitch right there. You see that? Now, you're going to have your working yarn in the middle of the loom when you do this, all right? So you're going to take and pick up that stitch. You can see it. It's the first stitch. You see it. Right there, see? And you're going to pull it back, and you're not going to release it. You're going to continue to hold it. You're going to take your working yarn, and you're going to wrap it in front of the... Okay, I apologize. My camera decided to freeze up. When that stitch you were holding, you're just going to place it right back where it was. So if you were holding it here and you wrapped it in front, you just go in and place it back. Okay. Sorry that I wasn't expecting my camera to do that. Okay. So you have 2 stitches that looks like it's on there now. Then you're going to knit your way over. I believe it's going to be 16 because that's 17 and the one you want is 18. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Okay. And to make sure that that's right, you know that's 17, 18. All right. So hopefully the camera won't freeze up this time. Okay. So you want to find that first stitch. Okay. Right there. Okay. And you're going to pull it back, but don't release it. Remember, your working yarn was inside the loom so that you can go in and wrap it on the front of the peg. And then what you're going to do is you're going to release that stitch back where it goes. Okay. And you're going to do this just like if you were doing a wrap and turn. Now you're going to just knit your way over to just before the last twin knit is what it's called in needle knitting. Okay. So you're going to knit your way over to just before the last twin knit. This beginning part works a lot like if you were just doing a regular wrap and turn. So place the working yarn inside the loom, find your first stitch, okay, pull it back, wrap the working yarn in the front, and place back. Again, if you think this is too difficult, don't worry about it. You can do a regular wrap and turn heel. So you're going to work your way over. I'm going to show this one more time. And then I'll let you run free and get your 6 wraps and turns on each side done. Okay. We're just going to knit our way over. I always like when I get my first decreases done, it gives me a notch and I don't have to really think about it so much. Okay. Almost there. There it is. Okay. Working yarns inside the loom. Grab your first knitted stitch, put it in the front of the peg, and then release. Okay. So you're going to keep doing that back and forth just like if you were doing a wrap and turn until you have 6 twin knits over here, 6 twin knits over here, and 6 single stitches. All right. So pause the video, get that much done, and then we'll go from there. Okay. Okay. So what you should see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 2 stitches, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 single stitches, and rest double stitches. Now, here's where this works differently from a regular wrap and turn heel. This is where you don't have to worry about the little holes that show up on the side. And as you see, well, this isn't a properly fitted sock to this size of a foot. I think this is like almost a size 10 in women's, if you want to know the truth. You can see even with it stretched, there's no hole. Okay, this looks even better off the foot. And I'll tell you if you are making for a larger size, then you'll want to add more rows. Okay. Here, I'll show you what it looks like. This is what the kiss heel looks like when you're done. It's very smooth. Okay. So this is where it's different than a regular short row heel. Okay. So at this point, what you want to do is you want to just knit your way around. Okay. So what you're going to do is you're going to knit all the way around. Okay. And then at that point, what? We have then what you want to do is knit 18, then knit 12. Okay. So, and that should leave you 6 left over here, and then we'll start a different process. So, what you want to do is when you get to these twin knit stitches, you're just going to knit both those loops over, and you're going to knit all the way around. And then what you're going to do is you're going to knit around for 30. Okay. And how to keep up with that is you're going to knit your half of your loom. Okay. But then you need to knit over to where your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is where you ended with your single, and then you had your first twin knit here. Well, what we're going to do is we're going to twin knit here once you get around to doing knitting 30. So you just keep that in mind. If you need to, put a stitch marker there. Even if you're doing this on another loom, and I told you how to reduce this and do this like almost a regular short row heel, put a stitch marker there so that you know after you do one full round, when you go in, you only knit to partial. Okay? So knit around, knit these 2 stitches together when you knit around. Okay, just like I did here. So knit around, and then you're going to knit 30. Okay, and stop. All right, so pause the video and get that much done. Okay. So as you can see, I stopped here. Count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right, now what you want to do after this is you want to start doing a twin knit again. All right. So again, you find your first one, you pull it back, place it forward. Okay. Then you're going to knit over 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, and then you're going to twin knit again. Now the whole reason for doing these rows, like I explained, is so that you can see a previous stitch real easily. To pull back, put in the front, and release. Okay. So now we're going to be working our way out. So you're going to knit your way over. You're going to knit the 2 together. Then you're going to do a twin knit where you pull it back, place in front, release. Okay. Once you get the hang of this, it goes really fast. All right, so then you're going to knit your way over so you can start to see the pattern developing here. Okay. You're going to knit the 2 together. Then you're going to do your twin knit again. So now you're building out like you would have done with your short rows. Okay. So you're just going to knit your way over, knit 2 together, twin knit, and you're going to keep going back and forth until you're ready to be done, which is about here. And you knit that 2 together, okay? And then you're back at square one. All right. So go ahead and pause the video. Continue this process back and forth until you're over here, okay? And we're almost done with the heel. So pause the video and get that much done. Okay, so I figured this section's where it could get confusing when you get to these last ones. So I've just done a twin knit here. So now I'm going to knit my way over and do my twin knit on my 18th peg. Now what this means is when you go to actually knit this, you're not going to go and knit back. You're just going to start knitting in the round again, and when you get to that particular peg that has the last twin knit on it, you're just going to knit the two together. There's really nothing to it. Okay? So, I'm knitting my way over, and we've almost done with the heel. Alright, and then we're going to knit that last twin knit on this side, and we're going to create a twin knit real quick. This is your last one on this side. Okay, and then at this point, you're going to just knit your way around back to your starting point. Okay, and this basically completes your heel. At this point, then you can start knitting your way around, and just so happens when you get to that peg, you just knit those two stitches together. Okay. So, okay. That basically completes the heel. When you go to do your round, you just knit the two stitches over there on that one. Okay. At this point, you have completed your heel. It should look like that when the stitches are set. Okay. And it should have a fairly smooth look about it. Okay. So now we're to this section here, the bulk of the sock. Booty, sock, whatever you want to call it. Okay, now, what you want to do is, if you have a shorter foot, do 5 rows left. If you have the average size foot for a woman, anywhere from around 7.5 to 8.5, 9, do 36 rows. If you have anything bigger, do 40 rows, okay, or 41 rows. Just get you an adjustment of about 5. I'm going to do 36 rows of knit, okay? So what you want to do is you want to pause the video and just knit around for 36 rows, okay? What you're trying to do is get your length. If you're used to making a sock or a booty on a particular loom, do however many rows you normally do, okay? As I said, this is kind of in your comfort zone. It's just basically a booty or a sock, whatever you're used to. I'm just showing you different options and ways of going about making a different heel or a different toe. Just trying to give you some options that you may not have realized were out there, but you can do whatever you're comfortable with. But at this point, we're doing the bulk of the sock or the booty, whatever you want to call it, and you decide how many rows you need. If you're used to doing it on a particular loom for you or whatever, you do however many rows you need, okay? But for what I'm doing for this, if you're trying to follow the video exactly, you do 36 rows, okay? So pause the video, complete your 36 rows, and we will do a toe, and we will do a Kitchener bind off, okay? All right, so pause the video, get that much done. Okay, as you can see, we've completed the 36 rows. Let's pull this up. We've completed the 36 rows, and you can see, now that you're further along, that your hat sits where it's supposed to. Okay. All right, let's finish this up. We're going to do a double wedge heel, a double wedge toe with a Kitchener bind off, or you can bind off and do a whip stitch close. It's entirely up to you. Again, this is whatever you're comfortable with, whatever you feel like doing. Okay, so when you're doing the toe, you're going to work the front half. Okay, so if you're doing this a smaller size, work that front half. Okay, so you're going to knit 17 and then wrap and turn peg 18. So here's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 16, 17. Okay. Wrap and turn. Now you can do the kiss heel at the toe. It'll do fine. You can do that too. Okay, it's entirely up to you how you want to do that. Okay. All right. Now you're just going to get your way back over and wrap and turn the first peg. Now, if you've done a wrap and turn thing before, the double wedge is not any different. Okay, the double wedge is actually really easy. Okay. All right, just before our last peg, we're going to wrap and turn. Okay. All right. You're going to go ahead and make your way over to just before the last wrap and wrap and turn. You already get the process, see? So you're going to do that like normal. You're going to do 6 wraps and turns on each side with 6 single stitches between the wraps and turns, just like when we did the twin knits for the kiss heel. Same concept, but there's no trying to figure out how many you need to count to do the work your way out. Okay, so just before the last wrap and turn, and go the other direction. Okay, so go ahead and pause the video. 6 wrap and turns, 6 single stitches, 6 wrap and turns. Pause the video, get that much done, and we'll come back and I'll show you how to get to the second half of a double wedge heel. Double wedge tip. Okay, as you can see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 wrap and turns, 6 single, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 6 wrap and turns, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. See? All right, now this is kind of what makes a double wedge heel easy. Go ahead and knit your way back to your starting point. Okay, this is where it's kind of like the kiss heel at the toe, but it's not. You don't have to go around like 1.5 times or whatnot. You just go around once and start again. Okay, and I'll show you what that means. So knit your wrap and turn pegs together. You know, knit your 2 stitches. All right, then knit your way around to your starting point. Okay. Okay. Now, here's what you do. You're going to knit those 2 together, and you're going to go over and you're going to knit the 17, and you're going to do it all over again where you wrap and turn. But you're going to knit these 2 together. But keep in mind, you're going over 17 pegs, so here is, let's be a pain. Okay. 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Okay. And back at it again. Okay. So wrap and turn. You're going to do the exact same thing we just did again. Okay. Wrap and turn, 6 on each side, 6 single stitches. Knit your way around to your starting point. can stop. So you're just going to repeat what we just did. All right. And then knit around to your starting point. Okay, so you're going to wrap and turn 6 on each side. All right, wrap and turn. Started the process. Wrap and turn each side, so there's 6, 6, and 6. Then once you complete all that, just go your way around to your starting point. When we come back, I'll show you how to finish up. If you feel comfortable enough, just go ahead and knit another round so that you get those other half of the toe wrap and turns back to a single stitch, because you're going to need it when we go to do the Kitchener, okay? And you're going to need to have 18 stitch markers that you know you ain't going to lose the stitches on, okay? All right, or you can do a stitch holder, but it might be easier for you to just do a stitch, some stitch markers, okay? So go ahead and pause the video, complete what we did the earlier part of the toe again. So wrap, turn, 6 wrap and turns, 6 single stitches, 6 wrap and turns. And then you're going to knit your way around and stop. If you feel comfortable, go ahead and knit your way around so that you're all back to single stitches, okay? Pause the video and get that much done. Okay, so as you can see, we've worked our way around to the starting point, and you still have your 6 wraps and turns. This is where you want to go in and get all your pegs back down to 1 stitch. So you want to go ahead and knit those 2 stitches to over, and then knit your way back around to the starting point. Okay, and what you want to do is you want to do stitch markers on the back 18 pegs, like where you did your heel. So you want to place a stitch marker on all those back 18 pegs, or the back half of the loom, okay? And the reason why I don't want to sit around and show you how to do that is it takes up more time. The weaving part's going to need to take the time on the video, so. All right, we've knit our way back around. We're going to be ready to get started on our Kitchener. Okay, so what you want to do is you want to take these back half. Okay, back half, back 18. Put a stitch marker on every single stitch on the back 18 pegs. Okay, get those stitch markers ready to pull those stitches and lift them and place them on the other half of the loom, okay? So pause the video, get your stitch markers done, and I'll show you how to complete a Kitchener toe. Okay, as you can see, there's the back half, 18 stitch markers, okay? Now, as you can see, I use kind of large stitch markers. Now, what you want to do is release the stitches from that half of the loom, okay? You're just going to release it. Okay, and you pick that last one up, and you put it, you pick it up, and you put it on the next empty peg, okay? I mean the next empty stitch. It won't come off on me. Okay, so there's that one. And what you want to do is try to make sure that it's not twisted. Okay, so you just try to make sure it's not twisted, and you'll see that it's not twisted. It's just a nice loop. Okay, so you're just going to go around in order, putting the stitch markers back, and it should line up exactly. All right. making sure that the stitches aren't twisted, because if they're twisted, it won't look quite right when you do your Kitchener. But it's okay if you mess up your Kitchener and it doesn't look quite right, because it's actually on the bottom of the toe and you won't see it. So don't worry if you don't get the Kitchener quite right. This is a good way to practice so that you don't see it if you mess up, okay? Okay. Now, we're going to take off all our little stitch markers, and you're going to cut a really long tail, and you're going to need, it's easier to do this with a needle, but I'll show you how to do it with a hook in case you don't want to mess with a needle. But I find it's easier with a needle. Personal opinion here. Okay. Alright. Go ahead and put these up. And I need to cut a long tail, and let's get ready to do your Kitchener bind off. Okay. And once you get the hang of it, it's not bad. You saw how easy it was to transfer those stitches. Okay. So, funny thing is, I'm going to have just enough to have done two. So, keep that in mind. If you want to get one skein, or know you can use one skein of a soft and sleek, it's approximately 232 yards. So, you need 232 yards to complete a single pair of, approximately, that's what you got left. Good for scrubs. Okay. So where are we at? Make sure your tail isn't intermixed in with this whole mess. Okay, you don't want your tail intermixed in. Okay, so here's the rule when it comes to Kitchener. Keep in mind you're doing knit, knit, purl, purl. And what you're doing is you're doing, and knit-wise is through the top. Purl-wise is through the bottom of the stitch. Now your knit, knit is always on the same peg, but your purl is never on the same peg. It's the next peg and then back. Okay, so what you want to do is you want to take your first stitch and you want to knit it, all right, and pull it entirely through. Okay, then you're going to take it up and you're going to knit it again. Now, you don't want to get it all twisted either. Okay. So, if you want to make sure that you're not getting all twisted, separate it out. Alright, you see how it goes nice and neatly? It's a straight loop. Let's see if I can get the camera to pick up on it. Okay. You see how it's like a straight loop? It's not twisted? That's the big thing. Don't have it twisted. Now, you go to the next peg and do it purlwise. Okay, pull through. And then you're going to do purlwise again. Again, you can accidentally twist this. Don't. This is where I find the needle is a little easier. So, I'm trying to show you in case you don't have a needle. So you do it purlwise. It can be a bit of pain to pull through. I'm trying not to twist it. That's the thing that can happen. It can get twisted. I may still go to a needle, in my personal opinion. Alright. So, this is what you have. knitwise, knitwise, purlwise, purlwise, and that completes that. And then you're going to start again. You're going to go knitwise, knitwise, purlwise, purlwise. Knit's always on the same peg. Purls are always on a separate. Okay. Let's see if I have a needle over here I can use. Kind of all over the place still from all the reno. I might have a needle on this batch. It's big enough. Okay. Let's see if I can get this woven in. Alright. Okay, I had to break down and go find a needle that I can use. Alright, so this is where it gets a little easier if you have a needle. So you go from the top of the stitch on the bottom peg, on the bottom stitch first. Okay. Then you're going to take and go to the top stitch and go through the top of the stitch. Okay. Alright. And you'll notice I'm not twisting it. Now you're going to go over to the next peg on that top stitch and you're going to go up under it purlwise. Okay. You're going to go back to the previous bottom stitch and you're going to go up under it purlwise. Okay. And you'll notice I'm not twisting the stitches. If you have that coming out between those, you're going to get something that doesn't look right. Okay. It really matters that you don't twist your stitches. Okay. So, bottom stitch, knit, going through the top, top stitch, going through the top, and I'm still not twisting, as you can see, and go to the top next peg and go up under the stitch. So go from the bottom, that's purlwise. Go back to the previous peg, bottom stitch, go up under, purlwise. Okay. And it shouldn't be twisted. You should see no twisting or weird action going on here. Okay. Now, my suggestion is to really go in and tighten as much as possible so that you ain't got to tighten those stitches later. Okay, when you can just take them off. All right. Yeah. You just tighten them as you go. So we're going from the top of the bottom stitch, so through the top, bottom stitch, through the top of the top stitch, as you can see, then go to the next peg and go through the bottom of the stitch on the top stitch, and the bottom stitch in the previous peg through the bottom. Okay, so remember, knit, knit, purl, purl. Okay, so knit, all right, knit, knit, purl, purl. Remember that pattern. Okay, so bottom, top, top on the next peg, and bottom. Okay, so bottom, top, top, bottom. Okay, it should mirror each other, but knit, knit, purl, purl. All right, so knit through the bottom, knit through the top, send through the bottom on the top stitch, and send through the bottom again. Okay, and you want to tighten as you go. it as tight as possible so that when you go to pull it off, it looks as even as the other stuff. Okay. So go ahead and pause the video and complete your Kitchener weave. Okay. And trust me, it's going to look great. Even if you mess up, just think, it doesn't matter because it's on the bottom. So it's not a big deal. It's not like you're going to ruin your entire sock. It's kind of a good way of learning, making sure that it's on the bottom so you don't see it. All right, finish your weave and we'll come back. Okay, to finish off your Kitchener on the loom on that last peg, you go knitwise on the bottom stitch, knitwise on the top, and that completes it. As if you've been tightening as you go, you'll get to see what this is going to look like once you take it off. Making sure you didn't twist any stitches. All right, finished product. All right, are you ready to see what it looks like? Kind of look wonky, don't it? Set your stitches and see. Probably need to pull it a little snugger over here. There we go. See. Okay. So you just set all your stitches so that they don't seem out of place. And as you can see, here's what your Kitchener looks like. You may have some looser stitches you can go in and try to either loosen up or try to get them more even. Okay. You can do that. Alright, but that is how you do a Kitchener close. And sometimes you can just do a little tug and it will tighten up those end stitches. Alright, that's basically how that is done. Alright, and you see it's on the bottom of your sock, so even if you mess up, it's all good. You're not going to see it. See? Alright, at this point, this is just kind of the finishing touches. I showed you how to make the base of it. What you want to do is you want to make a little pom-pom. I tied it on the other side by trying to make it really small. If you want to try to hide it, that's your business. Because it's supposed to sit down and you're not supposed to see it, I just tied it there. I put little buttons down the front. The easiest way to keep your buttons even is to find a column and just follow it down. Okay. And if you don't like how loose the top is, you can send a little thin piece of elastic in between your hem stitch area here. And that will kind of pull it in so that it's not sitting so loose if you don't like that. Okay, if you don't mind, because it's a hat, it's supposed to kind of be loose, that's cool. All right, so make you a little pom-pom. I usually use 3 fingers on mine. Wrap it like, 10, 15 times, that kind of thing. All right, and attach it. Attach it whatever way you prefer to attach it. Okay. Now, and then just find your center point here. So somewhere in here, and you're going to put anywhere from 3 to 4 buttons. Or for me, I put 4 little pearl beads. Okay. So that is how you make Santa hat booties.